My people, what's good with you? Kenneth here, 100 Years of Wealth. I hope you guys are all doing excellent. Thank you for tapping in, or if you're new to the channel, clicking the thumbnail, whatever made you get here. I appreciate it. Hopefully you like what you see. Like, subscribe, comment. Look, the comparisons continue to happen, especially after a game like last night, where even though Minnesota Timberwolves lost, you see Anthony Edwards doing some crazy stuff. He did like a very sick, athletic, super hops, jump, dunk. And I'll put the clip in there. But he did a super sick dunk that was just like definitely reminiscent of someone like Michael Jordan. Right, so I understand why it's hard for these dudes to resist making the comparison, but I just wanted to quickly make a short video that showed you why the comparison is just far from warranted. And I've started to actually see and hear some commentators start to direct this, comparison to a different player, and they're directing it more so towards D Wade. Not to say that Anthony Edwards cannot be great or one of the greatest ever, but I think outside of, a few things that may look similar at times, great footwork, a great shot, it's a comparison that's just not really warranted. And outside of style, athleticism, and all that, let's look at the real stats. So shout out to StatMuse. Usually when I go online and I'm looking for some stats, they pop up, and I've done the actual comparison before where I've gone in and pulled up their information and then pulled up the NBA website and saw that it was exactly the same. So I know that they're getting their stats from NBA reliable sources. And for whatever reason, it tends to be easily accessible when I do the Google searches. So let's check this out, right? So and right now, Anthony Edwards is 22 years old, young stud, killing it, on the rise for sure. So I think that people that don't really have a real interest in being factual in basketball, or don't have a long history of watching professional basketball, it's easy to make these comparisons, and forget about the people that came before them. Well, if you go back to the year, all the way back in 1985-86 season, that was the year that Michael Jordan was 22 years old, right? Keep in mind, him at 22 in the NBA season, he's turning 22 that year in February of that year of 86. That's when he turned 22. So the majority of that season he was spent as a 21-year-old. Last 6 months of the season he was 22. Anthony Edwards, his birthday is actually, I think his birthday's in August, right? So he's like August, he turned 22. So this whole season he's been 22. So 6 months age difference, 6 months age difference, not a big deal. But when you're talking about like being exact, it does play into it. But besides that, the year 1985-86, when Michael Jordan was a 22-year-old, he actually had an ankle injury that kept him restricted to where he ended up only playing 18 games out of the full season. So anyone that has watched those, those classic Michael's Playground, and I forgot the other names of those videos that came out on VHS many, many years ago, but it told the story of that. And I'm sure there's other stories about him hurting his ankle only a couple years, or, the following year after his rookie season. Previous year, as you could see, his rookie season played full 82 games, averaged 40 minutes a game, or 38.3 minutes a game, and averaged 28.2 points per game for that rookie year. Balling out, right? The year he got hurt, he ended up only playing 18 games. So 18 games, 22.7 points per game for those years. So when you have a year where you don't really get to get started and go, to your full potential, you have 18 games that you played, and then you're out. I don't know if that was at the end of the year or if that was at the start, but I think it was at the start, and he was just out for the rest of the season. But we can't really use that as a comparison because he really didn't play. Now, if you go to the following year, he turned 23 in that year. The majority of that year, he was actually 22. And he played, literally after that ankle injury, he played 82 games, averaged 40 minutes per game, and my dude averaged 37.1 points per game. The year after being out almost the full year, comes back, plays the full year, all 82 games, 40 minutes average per game, right? And averaged 37.1 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, 4.6 assists, 2.9, so almost 3 steals a game. You know what I mean? Like BPG. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. My dude balled out, but that's massive. 37.1 a game, right? This is only his third season in the league, and technically it's kind of his second season because his second season he was out the whole damn season, right? So just keep that in mind. Now let's go over to also StatMuse on a different screen right here where we got Anthony Edwards stats for this previous season. So 2023 to 2024 regular season. This is the year, it's the current year. He's 22 years old. He played 79 games, so he was only out a few games. Maybe there was like a sprained ankle or something happened or whatever. Played a lot of minutes, but averaged 25.9 points per game. Right? 25.9 points per game. That's a strong year, right? That's great. That's balling out of control. That's doing damage in the league, right? And we see the videos, we see the highlights. We know that Anthony Edwards has been doing remarkable. But just to put this in perspective, if you want to, you can't, these are not apples and apples, right? You can say things like he is very athletic, like Michael Jordan, right? When Michael Jordan was young. He has a similar jump shot to D Wade, to this guy, and sometimes it may look like Michael Jordan's. But please, before you compare these two players, go back and do your research. Watch some tape. Look at the stats, right? Field goal percentage for Michael Jordan that year was 48.2%. Anthony Edwards regular season, 46.1%. So you can't say that, you know what I mean? Like he shoots better than Michael or something. No, he doesn't. You know, if you look at 3-point percentage, it was like no one was shooting threes back then. So I think they maybe had just added the 3-point line not long before that. So that's not an accurate comparison. But when you look at maybe free throw percentage, that's a good comparison because it was there, 85.7% from the free throw. Let's see, 83.6% for Anthony Edwards. So skill level, Michael Jordan was there, and he was just doing it at a higher level and at a higher pace. You know what I mean? So I just want to drop that video really quickly because I like to add context to it because I feel like people are so quick to, not have context in their conversation. And I feel like the new generation's their job right now, they're on their job heavy too. And their job is to downgrade the previous generations to uplift their current generation. And I'm like, you don't need to do that, right? Like when Michael Jordan came along, the previous generation, I'm sure people said certain things. He's a ball hog. He doesn't play team ball, whatever, right? But they didn't, it's like that only goes so far. You don't need to tear down the current generation to uplift, they didn't need to tear him down to uplift Wilt Chamberlain or whatever the case is, So my point being is that the stats tell part of the story for sure. In this comparison, they tell a lot of the story, right? They show two very skilled athletes at a young age, on their rise in the league, dominating in the league, or I wouldn't say dominating for Anthony Edwards, because if you're averaging 25 points a game, you're balling out of control. But when I say dominating, what I say, like the fact that you had the number 1 seed this year, or were they number 1, 2? I think they were 3, and Denver was number 2, and OKC was number 1. But the fact that you're right there, I think it was all a few games apart, it does show that you're competing at a high level and you're on that top tier, right? But dominating is a different word. There's a lot of people in the league currently averaging, I won't say a lot, there's maybe 10, 15 guys that are averaging around 25 points a game. Now, when you come out and you're doing 37 points per game, I'd beg to say that you might be dominant. All All right. But hey, look, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys tapping in. Tell me what you think in the comments. Cheers to Anthony Edwards, because he's definitely a young savage out there. But hey, look, there will be someone that comes along that it's a clear win, right? It's a clear win. We understand. We'll look at this guy and be like, oh, he's on a different level. Not only is he balling out of control, but he's having the wins to come with it, you know. So obviously Anthony Edwards young, and he has like a while to go before you can say, you know, whether or how much he won, or whether he has like a winning career, or how he plays in those clutch situations. Does he have any injuries that you know, are that stifle his career, or injuries that make it to where when he comes back he's a little bit different of a player? These are all the things that will happen over a 5, 10, 15-year career that will culminate in that status, right? And us that love basketball and the NBA and all of our years, and, you know, have ties to these players through watching them and things that we've wanted to do, it's like we kind of take that conversation seriously, right? Like, not, you know what I mean, but like we're like, hey, look, before you try to push my guy out, right, let's be real about it. Let's actually come through with the stats, the, you know, everything that goes along with it, you know. And then Anthony, you got to come out with some shoes that are better than those trash shoes you got right now. No, I'm joking. But anyways, 100 years of wealth to you and yours. I got more content coming for you guys. Like, subscribe, share. We're going to turn this up. You guys have a good day. Thank you.